It is Friday morning. Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Across from me is Carlene Bragg.
Hi, it's Friday.
It is Friday.
We made it.
We've made it to Friday. It has been a busy news week. It has probably been a busy work week for families, probably extra busy because maybe your kids started back to school this week.
That's right.
So I completely understand, but don't worry, guys. We made it to the weekend. We made it to the weekend. You know, the first signal that we made it to the weekend, this head is extra shiny because, you know what, on Fridays, you know my routine, Carlene.
You go to the barber.
I go to the barber. I go to the barber.
You get a fresh little.
It's
is it cut? What is it?
Shaved, yeah, shaved.
Just a nice shave.
Get the beard shaped
Yeah.
up. You know, going to the barber is it's like a stress reliever.
Yeah.
It's you know, my barber, I got to shout him out, Terrence,
Yep.
good guy. We have great conversation. We talk about
Sure.
things going on in our lives.
Yeah.
We talk, you know, we exchange book ideas.
You go once a week.
I go once a week, and it's so relaxing. It's
Yep.
a good reset as I go into the weekend. So shout out to my barber.
I understand. I got my
So-
nails done yesterday. Same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Same thing. Every 3 weeks, I go to my boy John. Shout out to John. And yeah.
You need something to look forward to.
Yep.
Little things like that. And it doesn't have to be big things.
For years now. He's a friend. He's a close friend of mine.
It doesn't have to be big things. It can be small things.
That's
like
right.
going to get your nails done, going to the barbershop. So hopefully you guys are doing the little things heading into the weekend. Treat yourself. It doesn't have to be big.
No, it doesn't have to be big.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
That's the key. Let's get the day started. Again, a lot happening today. Let's start with our top headlines. So first headline, I saw Majestic walk into the studio. Look, the weather, I have no complaints right now because the sun is out. Not right now. Keyword.
Not right now.
Look, the sun is out, but the heat and the humidity are returning. So we're going to dive into that in just moments. Also, it is Charlotte Pride weekend. We're expecting to have a press conference at 10 a.m. And just to give you some background on Charlotte Pride, this is a big event that celebrates the LGBTQ plus community. It's an annual event. They're celebrating 25 years of Charlotte Pride. 25 years, that's a big milestone.
Yeah.
You're talking about a diverse lineup of entertainers, vendors, resource sharing, arts activations, and more. So the festival will be Saturday. And so this is an all-day event. Also Sunday, there's stuff happening.
The parade's on Sunday.
The parade is on Sunday. That's what I was looking for. The parade is on Sunday, but it's basically all weekend.
Yeah.
But the parade is Sunday. The parade starts at 1, runs until about 3:30. So make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you have a good time, and make sure you're ready. More importantly, again, ready to have a good time.
Yeah.
Ready to have a good time. So we'll carry that press conference live here on Live Impact News a little later. Next headline, and our last headline for today. So a big meeting, a high-stakes meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. So again, this is a high-stakes summit that could determine not only the trajectory of the war in Ukraine, but also the fate of European security. This sit-down offers Trump a chance to prove to the world that he is both a deal maker and a global peacemaker. I'm reading this from AP News. So we want to get to Alice Barr real quick. Okay, listen to Alice Barr. NBC's Alice Barr is breaking down what's at stake during this meeting between Putin and Trump. Let's take a listen in.
This morning, President Trump heading to Alaska to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin face-to-face in the hopes of moving a step closer to ending Russia's 3-year all-out assault on Ukraine.
If it's a bad meeting, it'll end very quickly. And if it's a good meeting, we're going to end up getting peace in the pretty near future.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was not invited to Alaska, but President Trump hopes for a swift follow-up, including all parties.
All I want to do is set the table for the next meeting, which should happen shortly.
Zelensky meeting instead this week with European allies, signaling their support and determination to hold the line against further Russian aggression, including prioritizing a ceasefire and security guarantees for Ukraine over any talk of giving up Ukrainian territory.
The president's hope is to achieve some stoppage of fighting so that those conversations can happen.
Secretary of State Rubio among the high-level U.S. officials set to join today's talks following a one-on-one between Presidents Trump and Putin and capped by a press conference, though it's not clear if both presidents will take questions. During a 2018 Helsinki summit, President Trump took criticism for appearing to defer to Putin over questions about Russian meddling in the 2016 election. In recent weeks, he's sharpened his tone as Putin has defied repeated calls to stop the assault on Ukraine.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
Now voicing optimism that both sides will agree to a long-sought peace.
All right, so that is NBC's Alice Barr with the latest on that meeting regarding Trump and Vladimir Putin. Again, there's expected to be a news conference later after they meet during the summit. So we will keep an eye on that and bring it to you here on WCNC Plus. All right, let's shift gears now. Let's go back to the forecast. Man, it was great to see the sunrise and no clouds in the sky. It was felt great this morning.
I told ya.
Did you not believe me? I said your run today will be good.
I didn't even run today. That's
Oh,
yeah,
what?
no. Today
you
is
did
not.
every day.
Today's not a run day.
Right.
Okay.
It wasn't a
Well,
run
it
day.
still was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
great.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Great.
I didn't. It's not like I didn't have faith, but it's starting to wane a little bit because
Yeah.
all of the rain and
Yeah.
I think it was just the rain was just kind of messing me up
Yeah.
mentally. I think I was just like, I don't know what Majestic is, but a little faith.
I was spot on yesterday. Today, hopefully we can stick with that theme. It's going to be really nice. So hopefully you guys can do something outside this weekend. It's going to be beautiful. So let's get a look at the weather forecast, breaking down a few things because this is a big change in the weather pattern after multiple days of just dreary conditions and cooler weather. We've had several opportunities for showers and thunderstorms. The sunrise this morning was so pretty. There's another live camera shot overlooking beautiful uptown. Right now, temperatures are mainly into the 60s and 70s. It's 80 degrees though right here in Charlotte. So a few things to keep in mind as you're making your Friday plans. We will generally have a good mix of sun and clouds throughout the entire day today. Again, highs back into the 90s, but because it's so muggy out there, it's going to make it feel even hotter than our actual air temperature. So around 98 degrees around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you want to beat the heat, you guys know how it goes. You got to get out sooner rather than later. If you want to go wash your car, if you want to mow your lawn, you want to leash up your dogs and go for a walk, now's the time to do it because it is going to get hot by the second half of the day. We also have small chances for a random pop-up shower or thunderstorm. It's only about a 20% chance, so for the most part, most of us will not see anything, but you know how it goes in the Carolinas. There's always those random downpours that'll happen in the afternoon, and really the heat and humidity, that's actually fuel for that to happen. Highs today for most of us, again, back into the low 90s. Now, if you want to escape the heat and the humidity, look at the mountains. Upper 70s in Jefferson today, 80 degrees in Boone. Not only does it feel nice, but it's going to be a beautiful weekend in the mountains as well with a whole lot of sunshine. Now, dew points. Remember, this measures the true moisture of the atmosphere, how much moisture there is. Now, when we have 70s, you step outside, everyone's going to feel the humidity. I mean, everyone will definitely feel it as we're heading towards the next few days. Very sticky, a little uncomfortable, especially if you work outside in the elements. If you have to be out there for an extended amount of time, make sure you're staying hydrated, you're taking breaks from the heat. Summertime is back and you're going to feel it this weekend. This is what it feels like around 3 o'clock this afternoon for all of us. Again, back into the upper 90s. However, I would not be surprised if these numbers actually topped off a little higher into the triple digits, so feeling like we're above 100 degrees at times. And we're just going to do it all over tomorrow for your Saturday. So if you're sensitive to the heat, if you know but somebody who's sensitive to the heat, make sure you guys all have a game plan because this is going to be the trend over the next several days. So temperatures go up. Rain chances start to go down. They're not at zero, about a 10 to 20% chance through the weekend and into early next week. So again, those spotty showers or random thunderstorm will still be possible. Big picture perspective, here's our satellite and radar. It's really a beautiful start to the day across the Carolinas as a whole. Futurecast want to show you what our radar could look like as we're heading into the next few hours. So here's 3 o'clock. Remember, we do still have the chance of a little bit of spotty shower storm activity. Models are picking up on that. Notice it's not widespread. Not everyone will receive it. But as we're heading into that 7 o'clock time frame, if you have plans for your Friday night, as a whole, not too bad. And then overnight tonight and into tomorrow, another gorgeous start to our Saturday morning. Here 7 o'clock, mainly clear, sunny skies. Could be a good morning to go work outside. Maybe just grab your hot cup of coffee and take a little second to just relax before the heat really cranks up fast. Here's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. If you're heading out to the lake, if you're taking your kids to the pool, whatever it may be, keep your eye on the sky because we're settled back into that weather pattern where for most of us it's going to be nice. But if you see those clouds start to roll through, take a look at radar. You can also just see that on the WCNC weather app because if you have one of those isolated storms, they could just all of a sudden bring a heavy downpour, gusty rains. We know gusty winds. We know how that goes. I also want to give you an update on the tropics. So this is still Tropical Storm Erin. This is the 8 a.m. advisory. We'll have another advisory come out at 11 o'clock this morning. So it's moving west-northwest at 17 miles an hour. It has max sustained winds at 70 miles an hour. Right now, it's a tropical storm, but in order for it to turn into a hurricane, that number has to go from 70 to 74. It's forecasted to be the first hurricane of the season. Today, it's going to impact areas along the Lesser Antilles, out towards Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. But then a lot of the models are still agreeing that it will have more of a northeasterly turn. That's good news. But here's the thing. This weekend, it's forecasted to turn into a Category 2 and then a Category 3 hurricane. And you guys, by next week, a Cat 4 hurricane. So incredibly strong. But there is a little bit of an odd silver lining with this. It doesn't seem like it's going to make direct impacts really across the United States for sure, but it's going to continue to curve to the north and to the east. You can see the tracks of these models that are continuing to come out. A lot of them are showing agreements that it will continue to turn somewhere between Bermuda and the United States. So will it have direct impacts on the U.S.? Thankfully, no. With such a strong storm, that could be horrible, but we will still have very dangerous rip currents, high waves this weekend, and especially early next week. That'll be important to keep in mind and stay close to our weather team if you have a house there out along the shores, and especially we'll just be keeping a close eye on the beach communities for sure across the Carolinas. And then finally, just want to show you that 7-day forecast, back on track to sunny skies, feeling good, especially if you like the heat, the humidity. This is for you. It's going to be, again, hot today, hot tomorrow. If you're going to the Charlotte FC game on Saturday, should be nice. Again, 20% chance for a pop-up shower storm. Pride Parade on Sunday, so it looks really, it's going to be hot. 93 degrees, feeling like we're in the upper 90s, but sunny, and I think kind of just more so of what people would expect this time of the year here.
This forecast is made for Carly and Brad.
Is this what you
It's
love?
splish splash weather.
And she likes it hot. Like
Yeah.
she's.
I mean,
yeah.
I like it hot. Probably my perfect temperature is like 84.
Oh,
Is
okay.
probably like my
Okay.
perfect day is like 84, 85.
See, I like really hot weather too. I
Yeah.
think I like low 90s.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is-
I
this
can
is-
do low
This is good
90s,
for
for
me.
sure.
I like that.
I'm starting to sense throughout this week, you guys could be best friends.
Two peas.
We got
in a
lot in
pod.
common.
We do have a lot in common.
And you need to tell me about your nail guy. You gotta hook
yeah,
me up
I'll
with that.
recommend you to John.
Okay.
Did Nick make a connection?
You did.
Maybe.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I'll take credit for this.
We'll keep you posted.
I got to take credit for something. I don't, there's not a lot to take credit for, so I'll take
What's your
credit.
perfect day? What's your perfect temperature?
Perfect temperature?
Summertime. Are we talking summertime? Or just in
Just in
general?
Just in general?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So perfect temperature, low to mid 70s,
Okay.
and then at night, high 60s, mid 60s. I could
Pretty
throw
mild.
throw in a jacket, or
Yeah.
I can just have a
Yeah.
sweatshirt on.
I actually really love snow. That's one thing about me. Like, I love
Really?
snow. Like, I want a huge winter snowstorm. I've lived in the
Really?
South for like the last 3.5 years or so, and I haven't hardly gotten any,
No.
but I miss like those big, huge snow days where it's just, you can't go anywhere because there's so much snow on the ground.
Oh, no, I don't miss
You
that.
know, like, okay, I was
I,
about to
I did my stint in Buffalo, and I was like, I did my time.
But you had the Buffalo connection with snow. Majestic loves snow.
Yeah.
I still think
Look at, keep on.
I'm still making the
He's still making a
connection.
connection.
The equations are flying
It's
past my
beautiful
face.
to look at while
When
I'm
you're
inside. While I'm inside, and I could see it from my window and be like, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But we
Snow
work.
makes everything so quiet too.
Yeah,
like
it does.
it just mutes everything. In the summertime, it's like so loud and so chaotic, and go this, go here, go do this.
Yeah.
But then when it snows, it's like everyone just
Everyone
takes a
chills
chill
and
pill.
makes some chili and
Yeah.
call it a day.
Just want to put a note out there, except for us.
True.
We
true.
are at work.
We're at work for a
We'll
long
be here.
time.
That's
It's
true.
not that peaceful for us, but we make
Yeah.
it work. We try to have a good time and
Yeah.
be informative. Majestic, have a great weekend.
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thanks for having me this
Of
week.
course.
Chris will be back on Monday.
Yeah, you went to the beach, and I wonder.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't the best beach week.
Yeah,
My mom-
I saw that he posted one picture, and he said the ocean was really high and
Choppy
dangerous,
and-
choppy.
yeah.
There's the right word. But he said he liked it. It's kind of like a weird thing for meteorologists. We like to see weather.
Yeah.
We
I
like
don't
to
know
see
if
stuff
Kim
like
loved
that.
it. His wife, I'm sure she probably wanted to chill on the
Yeah,
beach.
true.
But
Maybe they
Chris
got times.
Chris and JT probably had a great time.
Yes, you always have a great time
I
when
was
you get
about
to
to
hang
say,
out with
That's
Chris.
true.
It's Chris.
Yes. All right.
Majestic, enjoy your weekend. Thank you again for stopping by with
Thanks,
the
guys.
forecast. All right, so as Majestic mentioned, and as we mentioned in our top headlines, it is Charlotte Pride weekend. Festivities kick off tomorrow with the parade on Sunday. Again, this is a celebration of the LGBTQ plus community here in our area, and not just here in our area. I would just say
Across
people
the community.
across the
yeah.
community and across
Carolinas, it's big.
across the
A
Carolinas.
lot of people come out for it from
And
all over. The
25
Carolinas.
years of Pride here in
Yeah.
the Queen City. That's a big milestone.
It's a big year.
There is a press conference this morning. I believe CMPD is going to be a part of that press conference to talk about
they
safety.
do like a security kind of thing every year. And also, it's important to note, like, the festival is going to be in First Ward Park for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
So it's moved.
Yes. Have you been to? You've been to?
I have been to
Pride. So, where was it before the parade?
I
Do you
think
know?
it was like down.
If you remember.
I can't remember, to be quite honest. It was an uptown, kind of near the stadium ish. Was like kind of around. It's big because it goes on
Right.
multiple streets. So.
Well, do you think it'll feel different or look different it being in First Ward? As somebody who's been to in the past.
I don't think it.
Okay.
Not really, honest. I think it's going to look similar. It's just it's just shifted over a little bit. a couple blocks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great time. It is always hot.
Oh, I bet.
All the times I've been, it's boiling hot. So, drink water. Drink more water than you think it, because it's just hot. And, of course, your energy's up, because everybody's energy's up. So, you just...
It's a good
your
time.
Your body's, going a million miles an hour. Just drink water.
Just drink water.
Wear sunscreen.
And it's going to be like that first day where we don't have any rain chances.
Right.
So it's really, really going to be cranked up. So really, really pay attention and listen to your body. Also have a great time, but
Yes.
again, listen to your body. So our own Richard Devane this morning is covering Charlotte Pride. Again, that press conference is set to happen this morning at 10. So again, let's check in with Richard from this morning, who has a preview of Charlotte Pride. Let's take a listen in.
Everything you need to know. Well, we've got it on our app, but I'll talk about it a little bit. I see some workers getting ready to start the preparations, actually going to transform First Ward Park, which is where I'm sitting or standing or just hanging out right now. Look behind me. Nothing is happening right now, but I can tell you that workers are beginning to arrive. They're going to start closing off this area to parking. They've already got the signs up, and just in a little bit, they're going to start working to make this the epicenter of the Pride weekend right here in Charlotte. Now, as we look at video, if you've ever been out to one of these events, it is a lot of fun. There is lots of excitement. There's lots of colorful things to see. This is one of those big events. The party will kick off Saturday starting at noon. Of course, there'll be a lot of stuff going on. There'll be a main stage. There'll be all types of things, not only in the park, but around the park here at First Ward Park, that'll be taking place over the next 2 days. Pride is just a lot more than a celebration. It actually also provides a big boost to our local economy. Folks come and they pack the hotels, they shop at the local stores and restaurants, and just spend a lot of money right here in the Queen City. Now, we want to also tell you that roads around the park, as I just mentioned, are closed, and they've already started that process. You're not allowed to park here. We'll be leaving in just a little bit as far as our cars are concerned, but there's help for that. You can take the CAT system. They are offering an all-access pass. Who doesn't like an all-access pass? $10, that's all it costs. You can get on, ride around, come to all the events and navigate around Uptown if you need to. Also, leave your car, don't have to worry about parking. Good advice for you there. And just remember, when it comes to the Pride weekend, it is so much fun, excitement. And for folks who attend this event, they say it's really just all about family. Take a listen.
If we don't stick together and have the pride in ourselves and with each other, then where are we? Because I feel as a gay man, I'm the biggest person and the deepest loving person that I could be.
Oh, it's just really nice seeing a lot of different people come together to just celebrate Pride.
To me, I feel like it's a way to express myself around people that actually love it.
Yeah, it's a great event. Everyone comes out and has a great time. And if you need more information about all that's going on this weekend, as far as the Pride festivities, the Pride weekend, if you will, first time here in the 25-year history. It's the first time it's going to emulate right here from First Ward Park. The parade, of course, is on Tryon, as it is all the time. Come out and enjoy. If you need more information, log on to our mobile app. Just pick up the mobile app, pick up your old phone and look it up and find it, and then you got all your information. We got so much stuff in the mobile app. Try the mobile app.
Rich is not lying. We do have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff in the mobile app. But Richard, there again, 25 years of Charlotte Pride.
Yeah, it's shifting over.
I
I said before, yes, it was kind of nearish, closer to stadium.
Okay.
And like the Mint and stuff like that before.
Okay.
Now it's kind of shifted to the other side of town, almost closer to Spectrum Center.
Okay, so still, just be on alert. If you're going to be in Uptown and you're not, I just say this: if you're going to be in Uptown, you're not really going to be a part of the festivities. Just be mindful when it comes to parking and other things happening.
If you can light rail or anything in, this would be the weekend to do it.
Yeah, because it's going to be busy in Uptown all weekend.
And parking's going to be, parking in Uptown. It's
going to be insane. Yep. So make sure you park somewhere that's legal and because you don't want to. I say this because it is brought up time to time about getting booted, tickets.
Yes.
I hear it all the time. Just make sure you're parking in a safe space and make sure you know where you're parking. I know this sounds like the obvious thing, but I just want to just
double check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to leave you with something.
Just double check the signs around you before you walk away from your car.
Right. Also happening this weekend, Charlotte FC is playing on Sunday.
Yep.
Let me look up the game. I meant to do this earlier, and I totally. I usually put Carlene on the spot when it comes to Charlotte FC or any.
It's tomorrow.
Games. Tomorrow at 7:30.
No, it's
tomorrow at 7:30. No, I thought they had a game Sunday.
No, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Is it a home game? It's a home game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. It looks like they have a game. Okay. I trust Carlene, and let me stop looking at the schedule. So tomorrow they play Real Salt Lake, that franchise in Utah. So,
and thankfully, like I said, because it's now the Pride Parade shifted over to the other side of town,
it
wouldn't be that bad over by Bank of America.
Yeah, by Bank of America. What else is in that area? I guess.
Like tailgating and stuff it shouldn't be like it wouldn't be that much of a clash of the two things happening at once if Pride's kind of over by Spectrum on that side.
I think the game is, but you make a good point, tailgating, but still.
Everybody just needs to drink water and wear sunscreen, wear a hat, please.
Just we're saying all this so you are aware.
Yes.
This doesn't come as a surprise. That a lot is happening in Uptown. And I mentioned Charlotte FC because Charlotte FC is on a win streak right now.
That's right.
Guys are looking hot right now. So Nick Carboni, sports director Nick Carboni, got a chance to speak one-on-one with Tony Husband. He's a play-by-play announcer for MLS Season Pass. He got a chance to talk with Tony about Charlotte FC, their win streak, and the upcoming match against Real Salt Lake. Let's take a listen into that conversation.
Sports Director Nick Carboni here in the WCNC Plus Live Impact News studio, and we are talking about Charlotte FC, as hot as they've been in MLS play. Big one at home this weekend against Real Salt Lake, and calling that game for MLS Season Pass is Tony Husband. Tony, thanks for joining us.
Always good to be with you, and always good to look forward to a game in Charlotte as well. And the run into the season really gets underway now, and the Crown at home certainly pretty well placed.
Yeah, so you were telling me you did some Leagues Cup in Charlotte as well the last few weeks, and I'm like, well, I'm glad we got the Charlotte FC that was streaking in the MLS play before that. What did you make of their dip into Leagues Cup and the tournament overall for Major League Soccer so far?
Well, I think Leagues Cup this year came in with a new format. You had to basically start on fire to progress to the quarterfinal stages, because only 4 teams out of the 18 teams in MLS would make the quarterfinals. Same goes for the Mexican clubs. If you didn't start well, you were really up against it right off the bat. So, as Dean Smith said, really 45 bad minutes against Juarez cost his team a chance to progress too far in the tournament. I think take that 45 minutes away at the very beginning in their first game, and they didn't play too badly. I mean, there's always going to be an opportunity as well to try a few things out, try some different players, give some players a rest when you have other competitions, whatever they might be. And now the focus, of course, though, is right back to MLS play. And, of course, Leagues Cup didn't come without its costs. Pep Biel is out for another few weeks as he nurses his hamstring injury. So it just goes to show, these things can be great. These things can also come at the wrong time for you. You never quite know in the rich tapestry that is a season of soccer competition across different competitions. But they come out of it. A great result in Cincinnati last week. That was exactly what they would have wanted to bounce back, to get a road win as well, because this team's been poor on the road, to be frank. That's what they wanted going into now. The run-in, which has 5 home games left, and I think Charlotte probably needs to win all 5 of those if they're to actually puncture that kind of top 4.
You can find him in the booth at Bank of America Stadium on Saturday. You can find him on X at Tony Husband. Tony, Charlotte have now won 5 in a row in league play. What is clicking for this team that is clearly back on the upswing despite some big changes? Patrick Adjemong leaves, Pep Biel goes out, they still win without him. What do you think is working best right now for Charlotte?
Well, I think it's what's worked really pretty well since Dean Smith came in. They're a difficult team to beat. They're very strong at home. If you start from those foundations, you're generally going to do quite well. It's then what can you add? What is the star quality, and what are the frills you can almost add to a team if you've got those first 2 kind of qualities that I mentioned. Wilfred Zaha has found form. There's no doubt about that. He's now got 9 goal contributions in as many games. He could take a little place in the MLS record books if he could make it 10 this weekend against RSL. Pep Biel, when he's been fit, has been absolutely outstanding this season. A different level of player to what we saw last year. And there's also been players around the fringes of the team, and I mean that by saying on the wide side, Abada has really played his part when it's mattered. And Kerwin Vargas I've been more impressed with this season as well. And I know that they've been working on him and working on some parts of his game. And I think we've seen an improvement in his performance. So you add all those little parts together, and Idan Toklamati was a player that they were pretty high on even before Patrick Adjemong was sold. He is definitely a piece of the puzzle up top that Dean Smith has plenty of faith in. Key thing, of course, though, for this group right now is that they don't suffer any more injuries in this stretch.
Yeah, Toklamati, has he sort of taken the pressure off of this organization in this transfer window to add that high production goal scorer? And what have you made of their approach so far? They pick up Tuffalo at left back. They add Archie Goodwin, a young striker yesterday, kind of an ascending player. And then they surprised all of us by going out and getting a keeper from Miami and Drake Callender.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're building, aren't they? They're building blocks. They haven't taken the big swing that you wondered that they might do. But I'll go back to what I said about Toklamati. They've been pretty high on him since he came into the side and started to get minutes, even when Patrick Adjemong was here. They've banked a fantastic profit for him, and I think they feel now in bringing Archie Goodwin in, there's a player who, again, they can develop. Dean Smith likes what he sees as a former Adelaide man already. Scored a lot of goals in the Australian League. He's taking a step up from going from that league to playing in MLS. He's not going to have a lot of time to find his feet, but he will provide some competition. You've got 2 young and hungry strikers there now in Toklamati and in Goodwin when he becomes available. And Toffolo will bring a lot of experience as well when he is available to play. I mean, they're waiting for that visa to come through any day now, any hour now almost, and he will be a good addition to the group going forward as well.
Yeah, part of what made the Callender acquisition so, befuddling, I guess, in Charlotte was Kalina's performance and really back in top form at Cincinnati. It was probably his best game of the season. What did you make of the move to add Callender? And does it say anything at all about Kalina's future or the rest of this season for Kalina? Or is it just adding talent in net and they've got lots of competitions over the next couple of years?
Well, I think that Callender was right for a move because for whatever reasons, I think it seemed like a moment for him to move on from Miami. It didn't look like he was likely going to get the #1 goalkeeping spot back imminently there with Oscar Astari playing in goal and also with having made another signing in the summer as well. So the right time for him, an American player, good age, goalkeepers have lots of longevity. And who knows, you never know about the future. I mean, Kalina has come over to the States. He's been a goalkeeper of the year. I don't know what the long-term future might hold for him, but you've got a sense Callender's a #1 in waiting. I mean, he's a player. He hasn't come to just sit on the bench for the next couple of years of his career. I mean, and David Bingham has actually done pretty well as well when he's been called upon. So the goalkeeping depth is really, really deep right now for the Crown. It puts them in good stead whether they do lose a goalkeeper going forward in a longer-term future, but it also means they're in good shape right now as well. But I agree with you on Kalina. I think he's had a difficult few games this season. He was goalkeeper of the year last year, absolutely outstanding. Any mistake a goalkeeper makes is always highlighted because they're the only one on the field, and sometimes I think they get undue prominence sometimes if they make a slight error, because players can do that all around the field and they get away with it. There's no hiding place for a goalkeeper. Kalina, unfortunately, has found that a couple of times this season.
You mentioned Zaha's 9 straight matches with a goal contribution, and boy, have they needed him in this form at this particular time. Do you think he's just making the adjustment finally to MLS, or is it tactical, or is it a mixture?
Probably a mixture. I think when he came in, he'd been playing in Turkey. He's a player who I watched play in England a lot, and I was so pleased to see him come to MLS because I felt that he kind of had every quality that there would be to be a star in an American sports environment. He's a player that when he's happy, that fantastic smile he can produce on his face, the quality he can bring, the way he can lift fans out of their seats. He can do things on a soccer field that very few others can do. Dean Smith has said, there are moments where he's unplayable. We've also seen moments where he's cut a frustrated figure as he adapts to the league. He will never played in a league with the roster rules that MLS has, where you have quite a range of talent across a roster from top to bottom. And getting used to that for often these players who are individually such high-end skilled players, sometimes that can be difficult when you look across the group and some people can't do what you think, well, you should be able to do that, but maybe it doesn't always come to pass in a team where the roster is broad. But I think we're starting to see more and more. I still think there's a bit more we can see from him. I think there's more in his locker. There are more moments where he can leave us spellbound. And if he does, then this is going to be hopefully a very prosperous finish to the year for the Crown.
As we continue to follow this football season for Charlotte FC and prepare for the American football season for the Panthers, I'll just go back to the old adage in the NFL that teams want to play their best football in November and December, and the coaches that are best at getting that out of their teams at those times do the best and have the most success in the playoffs. From your experience with Dean Smith in this league last year and then perhaps in England, what is it about his managerial style that might make this upswing something that we'll see last through October and November?
Well, I think I'll give you another bit of, quoting the American form of football, defense wins championships. Yep. And, if you've got that solid foundation and this group, there's no doubt about it, are very strong defensively and are very well organized. Dean Smith has, a very affable way about him when he speaks to the media every week. And when you see him often on the sidelines in a game, he'll stand there, he'll be watching quietly. But he can be strong-worded as well behind the scenes. He can be harsh, he can be strong. He can really, tear into players if he feels that's what the message that needs to be conveyed. It's mastering all the different arts of communication that a manager needs these days. That mix between being able to put your arms around a player and also needing to be really tough, give them some tough love when it matters. He's got the experience. He knows what it's like to chase playoff type positions and play in playoff games as well. And of course, he's had a year of doing it in MLS as well, and he's seen the pain of having to play a first-round playoff game last year that went to 3 matches, and of course, they came out on the wrong side of a 2-1 defeat against Orlando, and I think he's learned a little bit from that as well. I would have a lot of faith in him being very well positioned to help this team navigate the next few months, and as you say, to finish hot, because that is absolutely what matters. If you're finishing strong in October and getting a good position for the bracket, then you're in a good position, full stop. And of course, Charlotte in the playoffs, at home, in November, big crowd. I don't think anybody in MLS, anybody, would want to be the opposing team in that scenario.
Sounds great to me, Tony. Despite this franchise best streak, they've had trouble pushing past 7th. And this was a team that came into the year and even after that playoff loss last year, had a stated goal of 4th or better in the East. Is that attainable at this point? What do you think the ceiling is with a good couple of months here to end things?
Well, they have these 5 home and 3 away of the remaining 8 games they'll play. I mean, I feel they've got to win the 5 at home. They haven't played well away. That's what's cost them, ultimately. And that's what's going to make getting in that top 4 quite difficult. Columbus are above them, have a game in hand. Miami are above them, have 3 games in hand. If those teams produce any kind of decent form as we go into the fall, then they're likely to edge above them. The Eastern Conference in MLS is absolutely stacked. It's by some way this year the strongest conference of the 2. You've got a lot of good teams up there. I mean, we just talked about Miami and Columbus. They're not in that top 4. We saw Orlando dismantle Miami last Sunday on Sunday Night Soccer, and they're up in 4th. Nashville have been very strong this year and have got a Golden Boot contender in Sam Surridge. Philadelphia have had a tremendous year. So, this conference is really, really strong. There's going to be some pretty decent teams that will not even make it into the playoffs or the wild cards this year. For the crowd now, to achieve that top 4, it's going to be tough. But all they can do is keep winning and beating what's in front of them. If they do that, particularly with those home games, they give themselves a shot, because other teams will take points off each other along the way.
All right, well, there is another team coming into the stadium this weekend. I haven't mentioned them, and I'll wrap up with this, Tony, as you're calling the game. What do you make of this matchup between Charlotte and Salt Lake, which currently sit 10th in the Western Conference table?
Well, Salt Lake, a side that haven't prospered too much on the road this year. They are just a little lower in their conference than where Charlotte find themselves. They're a team that are used to playing in playoffs year in, year out. They've made a couple of swings in the transfer market, got a couple of new signings that they've made in recent weeks. It'll be interesting to see how far they might push them as far as giving them a start or putting them on the bench this weekend. They've got no Diego Luna, U.S. men's national team star. He's out through suspension. He was sent off in their late defeat at New York Red Bulls last week. That is a real blow for Pablo Mastroeni, who actually went to college up in North Carolina as well. So it's a return to the state for their veteran head coach. They're a difficult opponent, but they're an opponent who, frankly, I think at home Charlotte will seek and try and get all 3 points against. And they should do if they get things right, because with no Luna, that takes a spark away from Salt Lake, who are still trying to embed a couple of new players into the team as well. So I have Charlotte down as pretty strong favorites for this one.
All right, he is Tony Husband. You will hear that voice calling Charlotte FC's match this Saturday. Thanks for lending it to us for a few moments today, Tony.
No problem, Nick. Good to talk to you.
All right, so let's stick to the theme of sports. Let's talk about football. So there is I've been really hyped up about the Carolina Panthers, but college football starts soon. I mean, we're
soon.
2 weeks, a week or so out, a week and a half out for some teams as they start their first regular season game. Fall camp is underway right now. The guys are thudding it up with pads. No different at UNC over in Chapel Hill.
Yep.
It is the first year of the Bill Belichick era. We have covered this extensively here on WCNC Plus. Bill Belichick. So their first game is at Kenan Stadium, which is in Chapel Hill, September 1st. That's a Monday night game. So that game is coming up shortly. But if you look till next week, that Saturday, September 6th, they will be playing in Charlotte at Jerry Richardson Stadium against UNC Charlotte.
Yep.
So he will be here. The team will be here pretty quickly. So I know there are a lot of UNC fans here in the Charlotte area, so that's really exciting. And it's just really exciting to have a guy who's a future Hall of Famer. Coach in college. I saw something this week that Bill Belichick, and he's heard him say this. He's showing the players film from his Patriot days. So he's showing.
That's cool.
So he's showing them film of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Of Ty Law.
Well, imagine for these kids too.
Yeah.
That they're like, I have Bill Belichick as my coach.
Bill
Like that's
Belichick
wild.
as my head coach. Some of the guys on the staff were a part of those Patriot teams.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of experience wrapped up in that team. And so with that comes obviously
A lot of eyeballs.
a lot of eyeballs, big expectations.
Lot of eyeballs.
And one thing I learned, so I mentioned this before, I worked in the Raleigh area, so
Yes.
we pretty much at one point, especially during the start of football season and basketball season, we stayed at UNC Chapel Hill. And great campus, by the way.
Yeah.
But talking to businesses there, I've done a few stories, more than a few stories, but they make, and this is according to a couple of businesses, they make more money off a football season than they do off of basketball season.
Yeah. Which is wild because when you think of Chapel Hill, you think of basketball first and foremost.
North Carolina is a
basketball school.
Is a basketball school. So, but they do. A lot of folks go to the games. I understand it. The stadium is right there on campus.
I mean,
it's going to be like a Chick-fil-A line out there outside the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, and imagine I've been there for just when it comes to basketball outside of the Dean Dome. I've been there for what it's like when they have their sort of midnight basketball, preseason basketball thing, Gym Jam, whatever. They have different variations at different schools. And how when they open the doors, fans run in.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the first game, September 1st.
Packed.
People are going to run into Kenan Stadium. And I've never seen that at Kenan Stadium.
No.
Folks run. And there are a lot of people at the stadium, but I've never seen people run in. I can only imagine people running into Kenan Stadium.
Yeah, you're people that, I mean, probably didn't really care too much about it, just wanted to see Bill Belichick, to be honest.
Right,
like, you know what I mean?
It's similar to Shedeur Sanders when he came to Charlotte last week in the Browns. There are a lot of Browns jerseys in the stands. So it's a good sign overall. And look, football season is back. So
it's back, baby.
On top of that, folks are just hyped to see football.
Yeah.
So we recently got a chance to hear from Bill Belichick,
Sure did.
a.k.a. Chapel Bill.
Chapel Bill.
Recently,
Chapel Bill.
he talked about how the team is looking. Let's take a listen to what Coach Belichick had to say.
About 40% of the way through camp before the opener. Really impressed with the way the players are working. They're in good shape. They're working hard. We're slowly but surely bringing things together day by day. Definitely not there yet, but getting closer. This will be our second day in full pads, so we've got an opportunity to work on some things here. Today, from padded standpoint on our fundamentals with pads on and so forth, that we can't do in, less gear. So, excited about the week here that we have coming up and the rest of it through the weekend. And then, we'll start to get into classes and more of a regular season routine, as the players get on a little different schedule, not a training camp schedule, but their daily academic schedule. And that's where we'll be for the rest of the year. So that's kind of where we are at this point. I'd say the biggest improvement has just come as a team, embracing the program that we're installing, which is consistency, dependability, physical and mental toughness, just being productive every day. Everything we do is important, and all the details are important, and so embracing that and embracing the little things and doing the little things right and so forth is it's hard, but that's what it takes. And so gradually I think we've done a better job of that. We're making a lot less mistakes than we made earlier, not just because we've done it more, but because I would say we care more about making sure that the little things are done right. So if we can do that, that'll bode well for us in the future. If we don't, eventually those little things will keep the big things from happening the way we want them to. So we'll see how that comes out, but I think that's a big thing for us. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think it's college and pro. I think honestly it's pads or no pads. You can install a lot of the passing game with no pads on, and guys run around, and honestly there's not a lot of contact, or you can eliminate the contact part and get the timing part of the passing game and the coverages and so forth. The running game's a little different story. So today's our second day in pads, full pads. So we're going to concentrate more on the running game because this is our chance to concentrate on it. It's not just knowing what to do, but it's actually working on the fundamentals of doing it. The double team blocks, the back blocks, the kick out blocks, the backs reading those blocks and so forth. So today the emphasis will be more on that because it's our opportunity to do it. Tomorrow, when we won't be in full pads, there'll be more emphasis on the passing game, third down passing, red area passing, 2-minute drills, things like that. So we try to, a little bit based on what we're wearing, emphasize what we can get the most out of. So not that we can't run routes in pads and we need to pass protect in pads, so it's not exclusively running, but it's one-on-one pass protection and running game, and in passing days it's more, pass pattern, screens, blitz pickup, things like that coincide more with what we're able to do from a uniform standpoint. So as far as the plays go, I think when you want to try to go full speed, that's not the day that you want to put in a lot of new plays. You want to have those in so everybody knows what to do, and then you see if they can go out there and do them. And so that's kind of where we are now. Back in the day when we had pads on every day, that wasn't a consideration. You just practice. Now you kind of have to, I would say, gauge your practices based on what drills you're actually able to do. Do an inside running drill with no pads on is kind of probably just asking to get somebody banged up. So we wouldn't do much of that.
I think Bill Belichick's time here in UNC may be the most I've heard him speak as a coach.
I was like, you don't really hear much from him. The most I've actually heard him speak is during the NFL season.
Yeah.
Greg is a big fan of watching the Manning cast.
Okay. On
Monday night games or whatever. So I've heard, because Bill Belichick's been on there several times, so I've heard him. That's been the longest. Like I've heard him speak and be like.
Yeah.
Not just Bill Belichick. He's a person.
Great sense of humor.
Yes,
too.
He does.
So yeah, I mean, just as a coach, you don't hear him speak a lot. Well, in his Patriot days, you did. So to kind of hear him and thought process going into the season. Season is quickly approaching September 1st against TCU. So that should be a good test to see where they are. I know it's the first game of the season. It's kind of hard to judge, but.
College football is almost back.
It's almost back. From the football field to the courts.
That's right.
The basketball court. So we had a young man in with his family. His name is Bryce Slay. Man, what a good guy there. He is from the Charlotte area. Recently signed a pretty cool NIL deal. I'll let him explain it in the interview. But he's carrying on the legacy of not only his dad, former NBA player and former Marshall University alum, Tamar Slay, but also his mom.
His mom was a track star. Yeah.
Slay. She ran track.
Yeah.
Which we learned during the interview.
Yeah, it was really cool. So you're just talented on both sides.
Talented on both. And, he has a little brother who doesn't lack any confidence at all. And Braden Slay. Yeah. And so incredible family here. Again, Bryce talked to us about his next chapter there in West Virginia at Marshall University and the NIL deal he just inked. Let's take a listen into the interview in case you missed it from earlier this week. Let's move on. We got a special guest in the studio. Carlene, when I say bucket getter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A guy who can get a bucket.
That's right.
We got one of those in the studio right now. His mom told me played in the state championship this past year. Did they win?
They were runners-up.
They were okay. I was about to hype y'all up. I was about to. It was the refs. They come on, man. They should have won. I didn't mean that. But this young man You see right there on your screen, Bryce Slay, Celeste Slay, here in studio. Carmel Christian graduate, signed first major NIL deal today. We'll get to that in just a moment. But he's following his dad's footsteps. He's going to Marshall University to play ball. Again, a bucket getter. Thank you guys for joining us here on Live Impact News. Oh, man. I saw the highlights. I'm going to start with Mom. When you see your son on the court, and doing this thing, how does that make you feel? What is that like? What is that experience like?
So, first of all, it is so amazing to watch him do something that he loves so much. It brings me so much joy because you just are so always just happy for your kids.
Yeah.
And when they enjoy something and they're excelling in it and they're having fun, it makes you feel complete. Okay, I've done my job as a mom. But it is. Sometimes I'm literally in awe because he just gets into this zone and it's like his happy place.
Wow.
You know? And then to watch all of his hard work come to fruition and the way, the last 2 seasons of his high school went just blew my mind. Like, such a blessing. And just to watch kind of God work and give him the skills to really perform on that high school level has been really cool to watch, I gotta say.
Bryce, I see you.
It's cool being a basketball mom.
Bryce was over there cheesing while you were saying that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, when you hear your mom say, because you started playing in Venice, right? You were a little kid. I saw the pictures. Talk about that.
I mean, growing up with my dad, him playing professional over, and like you just said, in Venice, I mean, it was really just good to be able to see not only different types of basketball in different countries, be able to see a different country in general, to be able to and go around, walk around the streets and see people from completely different cultures. I mean, that really helped me just kind of fall in love with basketball. Also over there, being able to watch my dad, him play basketball in Italy, and just be able to fall in love with just basketball. Not really being forced to me, just me falling in love with myself.
Yeah.
Really. So that was good. Just different light, different world basically over there. So.
And your dad, Tamar Slay, played for the Nets. He played for the Bobcats.
Yeah,
you weren't born when the Bobcats were. You don't remember the Bobcats.
Too young for that.
Ooh, that was a rough time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
They took the lumps, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man. But he played for the Bobcats. But he played at Marshall University in West Virginia. So I saw the offers, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to list all of them. I can't even remember all of them. But I saw Western Carolina. I saw Wake Forest. I saw UNC Charlotte.
Yeah.
But you decided to go to Marshall.
Yeah.
Why? I know the obvious thing your dad played, but why?
I mean, really, just up there. It's it sounds cliche, but it's a family up there. If you know, for people that don't know, we got the movie We Are Marshall about the plane crash. They truly up there, the culture up there is just a family. And like I said, just falling in love with basketball growing up. My mom, she also went there. She ran track there. So just I sort of just fell in love with Marshall. I've been a Marshall fan for basketball and football growing up. So not really the biggest powerhouse like some of the other offers I might have had, but really just the love I have for the city and for the university as a whole.
Marshall, I didn't know you ran track at Marshall. I gotta give Mom some love here. So you ran track. What made you go to Marshall? Was it the track scholarship? And why is Marshall home for you?
So, in my recruitment process, I'm from Tennessee, and I had offers, throughout the SEC, ACC, but when I got to Marshall on my visit, it was the same thing. It was just sort of like this connection to the area, the coaching staff, and that's just where I ended up. I mean, I think it's a God thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, and they did come through with the full ride, so that makes a difference.
So you signed this NIL deal. I don't even know the NIL. I mean, I really just tried to keep off social media. I saw the highlights. I didn't want to see anything. Yeah. I wanted you to make that announcement. I wanted to be surprised. I didn't even tell Carlene. We don't know anything about the NIL deal. You signed it today. Can you give us some more information, some background on it?
Yeah, I mean, really with that, it's just technically an undisclosed amount of profit, but really just it's like a continuous deal that I'm just going to continue to do throughout my basketball career, whether it be in college or just really just like a continual deal that probably will last for a good amount of time.
What brand is it?
College Hunks and Holland Junk. It's like a moving company. Moving company was on Shark Tank. They actually got told no while they were on Shark Tank, which is a little different, but like him being able just to like stay persevered and just continue to build his company really helped me also fall in love with his company as well.
I was about to say, was that the piece that resonated for you?
Yeah, really, just like him as a person and just like that story like there, just like really just sat with me. So
when you were there, we saw some pictures just now at your Marshall. There it is right there on the screen. What was that day like? I mean, when y'all taking the pictures?
That day was really surreal, though. You know, growing up as a kid, always being a Marshall fan, finally just to be able to be there and actually like put the jersey on and take pictures. It kind of, you know,
there's the emotion.
Yeah. It was good to be able to step back and like be like man, like I really accomplished my dream. I know like I had other maybe some people would view as higher schools, but this is really my dream, and to be able to just sit back and view and be like, man, I'm really living out my dream. It's kind of been crazy. So it was just surreal, that whole moment.
I guess in nowadays it's not about the big school. Really, it's about where you feel comfortable. It's like
100%.
Feel home.
Where you're gonna play.
Yeah.
Where they want you for you.
Yeah.
You know?
That first game. I'm gonna start with mom first. As I know you love being a mom of a hooper.
Yes.
What is that? Because you're a Marshall graduate.
Yeah.
Your husband played there.
Yeah.
Now your son is there. When you're in the stands, I mean, how the emotions?
It's gonna be a lot.
Are you gonna shed a tear? Are you gonna shed a tear, Mom?
I would assume so, but I don't know. You know, like what Bryce is saying. I would assume so. Yeah. I just feel like it's just going to be like such a culmination of all the things. Just really proud of him and all he's accomplished, and then for him to be a legacy too. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
2 legacies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
2.
Bryce, first game.
Man. I don't even know. I know I'm gonna have to try to lock in, but I'm gonna be really excited for it. So I might be a little antsy, but I just gotta make sure I make the main thing. Try to stay as focused as possible, but definitely like enjoy the moment, savor the moment, and really just embrace the moment. All that.
Look, I have a nephew. I talk about him from time to time. He's 15. He lives in Somerville, South Carolina. Okay. He plays football. Yeah. He wants to play at the college football. Yeah. He wants the NIL thing. Yeah. What advice will you give to a kid like that, and to other kids watching this?
Really just kind of what my mom said, like when it comes to choosing down that school, like don't fall in love with like the glitz and the glamour and like the big time, maybe nice uniforms or bigger schools or like more attention nationwide, but just fall in love with like the school for the school, the coaches for the coaches for how they view you, and basically what school you fall in love with out of the options you are blessed to be able to have and off the start. So really just fall in love with the school and not don't worry about the extra stuff that comes along with it.
I meant to ask this earlier, and I was picking on Mom for shedding a tear during your first game, but your dad, Tamar got emotional. I saw the video of signing your letter of intent. Yeah, signing day. Man, look, I was over here in the newsroom like,
glass is fogging up.
Man. So watching that and you hear your father talk about you, like what did that do for you, for your confidence, man?
I mean, really with the confidence, it's just like kind of what we just talked about, like with like the first game. Like it just helps me just know even more like what's actually going into me going Marshall, like the more like the story behind it, really, like how much it actually means for me and my family. Just like you see how he broke down. He's an emotional guy. He tends to do that a lot, but like for him to be able to break down, it really just shows like how much love we truly have for the city of Huntington and Marshall, the university as a whole.
Man, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, you felt that.
That father-son thing is special too.
Yeah. All right, so that was a portion of our interview with Bryce Slay and his mom, Celeste Slay, talking about an NIL deal he just signed. Also, starting a new chapter at Marshall University there on the basketball court. You can catch that full interview right now on our digital platforms. But we want to break into that interview to take you here live This is the press conference happening for Charlotte Pride. You see CMPD there in the back. Charlotte Pride celebrating 25 years, but they're also talking about things you should know, including safety. Let's take a listen into what's being said right now.
So we still have pretty robust corporate support, although we have seen a decline. We also have seen an increase in individual giving, and I really think folks are going to be super motivated to come out because of that sort of political environment that we have going on. I think we're going to really fill this festival up, and none of our activations have been sacrificed in terms of the quality or what we're bringing. We're very excited about what this festival holds, despite that challenge.
Why the change in the festival?
Oh my gosh, so great question. So we have been in Uptown since 2011, so that's a long time, right? And we added the parade in 2013, which is going to be in its old familiar route and spot. But we really needed to move over here because we needed more room. We now bring in 250,000 people over the course of the weekend, and we wanted to have more vendors. We wanted to have more local vendors in addition to our corporate sponsors and our nonprofit organizations that support us. So we're going to have 20% more vendors. We're going to have a big neighborhood market, as Caroline mentioned, right behind me, with about 40 micro, small businesses and artists and artisans. So really excited for the way this has taken shape despite sort of the uphill climb that we've had.
I know it's important every year, of course,
right.
Pride is, but here recently we have seen bits and parts of the community under threat for various policies, state and federal. Can you just speak to the importance that it is to continue doing this specifically this year?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, for us, as I mentioned, it's our 25th anniversary of doing Pride in Charlotte. So it's personally important to us as organizers, as the organization. But we know that our community is definitely under direct attack right now. Our marriages are being threatened potentially. Particularly our trans community is being attacked and being marginalized and sort of scapegoated for things. So we're very concerned about that right now. And I think it's super important for us to show up and be visible. Our mission is visibility. So being out here in this park, being in Uptown, and being huge in number, both people in the LGBTQIA community and their families and allies, it's so important for us to show up and be out here and guess what? Be joyful and celebrate who we are and be our authentic selves.
Speaking of visibility, every time CMPD is very visible out here.
Yeah.
Can someone speak to just the safety measures in place for the weekend ahead?
Hello, I'm Kevin Triola. I'm the lieutenant over the special events unit here at CMPD. We'll obviously have a very robust traffic plan as well as safety plan here for the festival footprint here. First Ward Park, we're very familiar with. We've done a lot of events here at this festival site, so we're very familiar with this area, and we will have a lot of officers on hand to make sure that this is a safe event for everyone.
What do you want to tell the community if they plan to bring their family out here, but are also apprehensive of just the environment and the threats that happen these days?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we're going to have a lot of officers out here, so 100% they're going to feel safe here. If they have any questions or any concerns at all or any issues, please approach officers with any questions or issues that you have. They're here for your safety, and they're more than willing to help you get to where you need to go. If it's questions about directions or a good place to eat, just approach us and ask us. We'll be sure to help you out.
And then in terms of the number of officers, how many officers are you expecting to have on site?
We'll have plenty. We'll have plenty.
And with that being said, how does it change from the previous location to here? How do you have to adjust to that?
For us, like I said, we're so familiar with this site and the Tryon Street location that it doesn't change a whole lot for us. We're very familiar with what we need to do to close the streets down, safely staff this festival footprint, so yeah, it doesn't change a whole lot for us.
And there's a lot of street closure around here. How do you recommend people get in here? What's your recommendation?
So use your Waze apps or any of your Google Maps, whatever you prefer to use. You'll come downtown, you're going to start to notice that Brevard Street's going to be closed from 9th to 6th Street during festival setup and tear down. 7th Street will close tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. between the light rail tracks and Caldwell. You'll be able to access any of the parking garages and surface lots throughout the area. And again, if you come to a road closure and you need help, just roll the window down. The officer will help you get around that closure.
And could you spell your name for me, first and last name as well?
Correct. Kevin Triola. Last name spelling is Triola.
Question for Meredith.
Yes.
Yes. Just going back to the challenges that the community is facing, is this going to be a topic of discussion at all, with any of the exhibits or the speakers that are going to be speaking?
Yes, so we're going to weave in, I think, our history into some of the Flourish activations. So we're going to be thinking about, pride as a protest and the movement and how we need to carry that forward. So I think you're going to see that woven into the entertainment, the activations. We're going to have some advocacy from the main stage. So yes, that's definitely going to be on folks' minds and definitely be woven into the fabric of the festival.
In celebrating 25 years, what's changed the most for you over the past quarter century?
I mean, in my mind, as the event organizer, I think about the growth of the festival, right? Like, it's just exploded from, a few thousand people, right, in the beginning to now over 250,000. It has this huge impact, and everybody comes out to celebrate this. So that's changed a lot, and then we've added a lot of really cool activations, so that's evolved as well. But then in a way, it's familiar as it always has been, in that we're just showing up and celebrating who we are, and having our parade, and we're being present here in Uptown.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I'm Meredith Thompson, Meredith Thompson, Thompson.
And her pronouns?
She, her are my pronouns, and my title is Managing Director of Charlotte Pride.
Are there any plans for a possible protest or any anti-pride crowds?
Yeah, so protesters are always sort of a factor and a presence, I think, at any Pride Festival. What we repeatedly want to reiterate to folks is don't engage. Because if you engage with them and you start arguing or fighting with them or making fun of them or any of that kind of stuff, it just escalates things. And we don't want that to be our focus. We want to focus on having fun and enjoying the entertainment and the arts and everything that we're doing here. So that's the key, I think, and I think CMPD would probably reiterate that too, that we just don't want to engage with them or react.
And you're at the new location, you have more vendors, more activities going on. I'm just curious to know what type of atmosphere you're hoping to create.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be my vision is that it's going to be more relaxed, right? That people are going to hang out longer. They're not going to be fighting sort of the crowd to get from the community stage to the main stage, which was the dynamic we had in the previous location. There are going to be more vendors, there's going to be some grass. Folks could bring their lawn chairs and listen to the main stage music, which is going to be on that lot across Brevard. So I think, and I think we're going to have more families and a different crowd as well, because the park behind me is all tobacco-free and family-friendly. So that piece in the center is totally family-friendly. So I'm really excited to see sort of a different vibe, while still some of the same feel that we've had in the past.
To get real with us here,
yeah.
How exhausting has this been? I mean, it's no easy feat.
So it is totally exhausting every year. Last night we had our drag pageant at Chasers, and so we were coming off of that, as this thing grows, it gets bigger and bigger. But we're also used to it, right? Like you were talking to CMPD, we work so well with the city and all the different departments, so it's from an organizing, checklist perspective, everything feels somewhat familiar. But yeah, it has been really challenging moving the festival and putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. Just lots of extra conversations and discussions, but it's coming together really beautifully. So
we've had 2 weeks of rain. I feel like we live in Seattle, but we have a really good forecast. Although hot, what do you want people who may be first timers coming in at how hot previous prides have been?
Yeah. So we were just talking about that a minute ago, how it feels like it's rained for a month, and I think people are going to be excited that now the sun's out. And at least as it feels now, it's always hot in August, but I'm hoping it's not going to be quite as hot as it has been some other years. And maybe with the grass, and we've got at least a few trees around here, I think we're going to find a little bit of a breeze and some shade. And we also have our indoor arts activation Flourish, so people can go in there and catch some AC on Saturday between 1 and 6. So the way it's looking right now, I'm optimistic about the weather and hoping everybody will get to come out and enjoy it even longer than they have been able to in the past.
You mentioned you had challenges with funding and also the trans communities and the tax. Pride is something a lot of people look forward to and celebrate the 25th year. What do you hope people take away from this weekend's event?
So I hope they get to come out here and feel seen and celebrated, and I hope that they see the power of the local queer community and ally community, and they see the vibrancy and the talent that we bring, whether it's music or spoken word or visual arts, and just even our corporate sponsors and their huge teams of folks. Look at the power of those folks and all that they contribute to their businesses and corporations. You know, there are going to be churches and places of worship out here, so I want folks to really feel seen, empowered, and ready to keep going and moving forward.
Can you talk about, after 25 years, the change in public sentiment that you've seen over the years in terms of improving and more supportive?
Yeah, and y'all can feel free to chime in too, those who have been around with Pride longer than I have. But, you know, we had this discussion the other day with a media outlet, you know, and a historian was speaking with us too. And, you know, it ebbs and flows. I think with any kind of social justice movement, you know, you see progress, and then you see like a pushback, and that's just sort of the nature of it. So while we live in extraordinary times right now, it doesn't feel too unfamiliar, right? Like, I think it's just kind of the way it is, and right now we're facing some upheaval and some attack and some targeting of our community, and so we just have to, you know, keep going. Keep fighting. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, y'all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. That was a press conference in preparation for Charlotte Pride, celebrating 25 years, and the first time is being held in First Ward Park, sliding over just slightly from where it used to be.
Just a few blocks.
Just a few blocks, not too far, not
too
terribly
far.
But they talked about everything from the impacts when it comes to federal cuts. They also talked about safety. And more things, what you should know going into Charlotte Pride. And also they talked about the preparation going into this event. Again, it's a 2-day event with the parade kicking off tomorrow from Sunday from 1 to 3:30. So let's shift gears now. Let's talk politics. So so we've heard the words redistricting, at least the conversation surrounding it in other states over the past couple of weeks. Think Texas, think California. And while that is playing out in Texas and California, North Carolina stands as both a cautionary tale and potential battleground and what experts call a new era of, quote, mutually assured destruction in American redistricting. Now, the Tar Heel State's history has been home to some of the nation's most significant redistricting cases, from landmark Supreme Court decisions to recent partisan map drawing controversies that continue to wind through the courts. Look, if you've been in North Carolina, I've covered North Carolina on and off for the better part of 10 years. This is a conversation, is a reoccurring conversation that happens, has been happening, and quite frankly will continue to happen. So we got a chance to have Dr. Michael Bitzer. He's a political science professor at Catawba College on Live Impact News yesterday evening. He's well versed in this stuff. He actually authored a book on North Carolina gerrymandering. So we got a chance to have a conversation. And again, this all comes as North Carolina deals with it. There is a case right now in litigation. California and Texas are dealing with it as well. Let's take a listen into that conversation from yesterday evening with Dr. Michael Bitzer.
to get to our professor of politics and history at Catawba College, Dr. Michael Bitzer, who has joined us before. Dr. Bitzer, thank you so much for your time. I do know that you authored a book about NC gerrymandering called Redistricting and Gerrymandering in North Carolina, Battle Lines in the Tar Heel State. We're seeing battle lines drawn all across America right now, sir. In Texas, obviously the news in California that we've been covering here on WCNC Plus with ICE activity outside, just some crazy images. And honestly, Dr. Bitzer, how did we get here? Because we're having a mid-decade redistricting issue. Obviously, here in North Carolina, there's a subject of some issue. The current maps drawn by the Republican-controlled General Assembly in 2023 are still at the center of ongoing lawsuits. And in fact, just in June, I do believe, if you want to correct me, there has not been. There was a hearing in June, but we have not had a final decision as of August 7th on those maps. So just update us where we're at, if that's correct, and what the next step looks like for us here in North Carolina.
A pattern of, I would say, mad, mutually assured destruction based on partisan redistricting. If Texas is going to pursue this, California is going to pursue it. We could potentially see a state like Missouri and New York also engage in this. So this is really going into a midterm election year for 2026 that typically the president's party loses seats in Congress. That is a kind of given rule in American politics, but the margins are so narrow, in particularly the U.S. House of Representatives, that Donald Trump is trying to do his best to ensure that Republicans at least have an attempt to claim a majority in next year's elections. Thus, he issued the command to Texas. I'm not sure that we will necessarily see something here in North Carolina. Again, North Carolina's partisan redistricting, the partisan gerrymandering, is legal based on a state Supreme Court decision that overturned a previous decision saying partisan gerrymandering was unconstitutional. The cases, however, deal with racial gerrymandering, the drawing of lines to impact voters potentially on race. And we've got a number of cases coming from other states going up to the U.S. Supreme Court that could potentially have an impact on this case here in North Carolina, and ultimately could strike at the heart of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that really kind of governs how racial dynamics in redistricting play themselves out.
There are a lot of big things in there. I mean, obviously the Voting Rights Act is something that we've known about, obviously, for decades. And so many Americans obviously want to have their voices heard. This is what this is about, getting those votes heard. And really, as you said, having the majority swing one way or the other. I got to ask, Dr. Bitzer, is this the new norm in American politics, do you think?
We are absolutely in the new norm, and we are in an environment that is both nationalized and polarized. Everybody knows about polarized politics. The two parties cannot get along. There's very little common ground between them. And in fact, the voters have also become highly partisan and highly polarized because we are now living in like-minded communities. And so many of the precincts that become the building blocks of these legislative districts, congressional districts, are indeed so heavily slanted to one party over the other because the voters are slanted so heavily to one party over the other. But there's also the nationalization effect. We used to talk about in the 1980s, all politics is local, that elected leaders, particularly members of Congress, want to take care of the folks back home, even if they didn't vote for them. Nowadays, it is nationalized dynamics. All politics is nationalized. What happens in D.C. is driven through the states, even down to the local levels. So this is the new American politics that we're in. Nationalized, divided, highly polarized, and these are just symptoms of these kind of phenomenon going on in American politics.
So So in layman terms, Dr. Bitzer, I'm still trying to understand a little bit what is ahead for North Carolina. So for our viewers, let's say the decision lands, and these are constitutional maps that have been drawn. Do you see us getting into a predicament? I mean, at that point, who knows where we're at, right? We could be in 2026 by that time, and nearing the midterms. Do you think that there would be a chance then that redistricting could be coming back up, that maps could be redrawn on either side, or is that not even a potential that you're thinking of?
I think right now we have to kind of wait and see how the rest of the country plays out. If indeed Texas goes through their process and California goes through theirs, and then Missouri and New York goes through their, national Republicans may look at North Carolina and say, hey, you've got a couple of Democratic seats that could be potentially split up and allow us Republicans to gain a few more seats out of North Carolina. They've already got a 10-4 advantage, primarily by packing Democrats into places like Charlotte and Raleigh and Durham. There is a process that could potentially crack all of those Democrats in those concentrated central cities and splinter them among various other districts that extend out into, say, suburban North Carolina, into rural North Carolina. That could eliminate some Democrats here in North Carolina as well. So I think we need to see what the national dynamics play out, and if indeed everybody is going to a mutually assured destruction, maybe North Carolina gets looked at by national Republicans and say, it's time for y'all to take out some Democrats to combat what New York and potentially California are doing as well.
Yeah, this whole situation seems unprecedented in my opinion. I mean, we have, state elected officials who are leaving the state of Texas. I'm not going to comment bad or good, but obviously they have a reason to do so. We have, Republicans in the state calling them to come back to finish their jobs. This is, I don't know if we have a historical precedent where we've seen state representatives leaving the state to protest these type of issues. Have you ever seen anything like this?
We actually have, and out of Texas as well. I mean, Texas has had a kind of past history of redistricting in the middle of the decade. This is very much out of the norm because most of states tend to do it right after the census in a year that ends in 0. They redistrict in year 1. They change the maps. They get the populations equalized. And then they also kind of look at doing the partisan breakdown. What we are seeing out of Texas is, basically politics at raw play. And we've seen that happen in the 1990s. Texas has done this before. Texas Democrats have left the state and tried to hold up redistricting sessions. But this is really something that, we have not seen other states take into advantage. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how California plays itself out, as well as potentially other states.
Sorry to show my ignorance there. I was trying to rack my brain to think if it's happened again, but I appreciate you letting us know and being so kind with that. Doctor, I got to ask this because a lot of folks, and I'm thinking about this as well. And I live in South Carolina, so it's a little different for me. But anyway, right, we're on the precipice of a huge, midterm election. Obviously, we'll see what happens in November if and when California can get their ducks in a row to get that special election had. But anyway, here in North Carolina, I'm sure people are wondering, right, how their voice can be heard with gerrymandering. And I don't want to say necessarily the maps are already like that, but for the maps that we are looking at in North Carolina, should folks be worried about their voice being heard with gerrymandering at play?
Well, certainly what gerrymandering does is basically isolate the minority party, the party that's out of power, so that they don't have a voice. And we typically tend to see that with this redistricting kind of an effort, going on. Here in North Carolina, our previous congressional delegation was a 7-7 split. That was court ordered, but once that decision that reversed the partisan gerrymandering as unconstitutional went into effect, Republicans were able to redraw the maps and basically create 3 additional Republican seats out of those 7 Democratic seats. Could they do more? There is a very distinct possibility that that could happen. You said you were from South Carolina. I've heard discussions about potentially drawing the last Democratic congressman out of his district and making it a more favorable Republican district as well. All of this is based on geographic polarization, and so much of this is based on where the lines are. For here in North Carolina, Democrats have to be concerned, because if you're talking about potentially getting rid of 2, maybe 3 other Democratic seats, you're talking about a real shift in Republican congressional control of North Carolina to the Republicans at the detriment of Democratic voters.
Yeah, it is the wild, wild west in some respects in terms of politics right now. Dr. Bitzer, you covered so many things. Appreciate you being a good sport and fielding all those open-ended questions. Last thing for me is, what else am I missing here? You're the expert. What should they know? And I know, the foreseeable future may not be totally clear for a lot of us, but anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think we'll just have to kind of wait and see. It sounds like Texas Democrats are going to return to Austin because they got the guarantee that California Democrats would start their redistricting process. That could be a potential hurdle in California, because they have to overturn a state constitutional amendment that instituted an independent redistricting commission, something that's supposed to take partisanship out of the process of redistricting. California Democrats want to put that back in, put in partisanship back into the process. That's going to require a vote by California voters to do that. But if California is as Democratic as Texas is Republican, that could be a real potential likelihood of that process playing out. Then the dominoes really start to fall across the United States, and we'll just have to wait and see how things play out.
You brought up a great point. Just last thing here. In what likelihood is it? And I think I saw from the federal government level that somebody is, I don't exactly remember, the representative is trying to institute legislation where they do keep to the regular mandated every 10-year type of redistricting with the census. Is there any possibility that that will stay the same? Because as we can see, the competitive advantage is gaining some seats here and there in any state that you can get them. But do we go back to as we were, do you think? Is there any possibility of that happening?
Well, Congress can certainly step in, and they can do their part to basically tell the states, whoa, no more mid-decade redistricting efforts, and put a stop to it. Unfortunately, that particular piece of legislation was proposed by a Republican, and it would also have to get through a very narrow U.S. Senate in order to get legislation passed, and then it would have to go to President Trump, who basically, by my read, doesn't want not to have a mid-decade redistricting effort, but wants to ensure that seats are built for Republicans out of Texas. This is really, a kind of war games scenario where if one side moves their chess piece, the other side is going to move their chess piece, and ultimately both sides may suffer in Armageddon.
And it feels like us, the voters, are in the middle of all of it. So, yeah, I guess for better or for worse, I guess we'll see. Dr. Bitzer, a professor from Catawba College, we certainly appreciate your time, sir. And again, wrote the book, NC Gerrymandering, Redistricting and Gerrymandering in North Carolina, Battle Lines in the Tar Heel State. Check it out. And Dr. Bitzer, thank you for your time. It's always great to talk to you and to have an expert advice here on WCNC+.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so that was a really great conversation with Dr. Michael Bitzer and WCNC Charlotte anchor Colin Mayfield yesterday evening on redistricting, especially here in the Carolinas, which is, as Carlene pointed out, has been an issue in South Carolina as well. Or
Yes.
I should say, I don't want to say issue.
It's been a point of contention, especially down north towards Charleston area.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was last year the Supreme Court voted in favor of the Republicans in the gerrymandering cases as it was deemed. So it's a big topic for both of the Carolinas.
Yeah, I should say, big topic for sure. And again, as it was mentioned, California. As a reaction to what's happening in Texas. So Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday, he called on California lawmakers during a press conference to approve a November ballot measure that would allow them to redraw the state's congressional map to fight back against Republicans' mid-decade redistricting plans in Texas and elsewhere. And you think about it, when it comes to redrawing congressional maps, it typically happens after the census. So every 10 years it happens, but we are starting to see these mid-decade redrawing of congressional maps. And so Governor Newsom has threatened, for lack of a better word, to make a state like California more blue.
I don't think it's not a lack of a better word.
Yeah.
We've seen his post on X. Like it's out there.
It's out there. Thank you. So yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
He held a press conference yesterday. And in that press conference, we heard from many people outside of Governor Newsom, including Senator Alex Padilla. There, he represents the LA area in California. So we want to go back to that press conference from yesterday and start with Senator Padilla. Let's take a listen in.
Are we ready to vote this November and defend our democracy? I thought so. Look, let me also add a little bit more light as to why we are here in this moment. It's been only 7 months of this Trump administration. And when we stop and look at it, you can't help but come back to the words costs, chaos, and corruption. Right? The costs on working families keep going up and up. These failed tariff wars are increasing costs for us. When you deport workers in agriculture and construction, you can't wonder why the cost of housing goes up and the cost of food goes up. Billionaires are getting their tax breaks, but working families are paying the price. Chaos. It's not just these on again, off again tariff wars out of the White House. It's what's happening as communities are terrorized in the city of Los Angeles, throughout the state of California, and beyond. That's right, when masked agents come out of unmarked cars and disappear people, that is intentionally created chaos. Violating the Constitution. Not just bad for democracy, it's also bad for the economy. But worst of all is the corruption. And I won't get into the ways that Donald Trump and the whole family is enriching themselves by leveraging this position. We're here to talk about what's happening in Texas and California as it pertains to redistricting. When Donald Trump calls officials in Texas and says, give me 5 more Republican seats, then it sounds the same as when he called the Secretary of State in Georgia after losing in 2020 and saying, find me 11,000 more votes. It's corruption. He's trying to rig the system. One of the earlier speakers said extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures because we're not living in normal times. In normal times, a political party in power would be proud of their accomplishments and they'd be running on their record asking for voters to keep them in power. That's not what's happening right now. With Donald Trump and complicit Republicans in Congress gutting health care, threatening Social Security, undermining the Constitution with this immigration enforcement deportation agenda obsession they have of 3,000 arrests per day. They know they're not just unpopular, they're wrong. And the only hope they have of keeping power next November is to rig the system. And so that's what they're doing. They're rigging the lines, they're rigging the system, they're trying to rig next year's election, and California's not going to stand for it. Como mi hermano David Huerta, unas palabras en español. Claro que se puede porque juntos podemos. Estamos aquí anunciando el esfuerzo que los líderes de California están listos de tomar para defender nuestra democracia nacional. Todavía hay tiempo para los líderes de Texas que decidan hacer lo correcto y no entregarle a Donald Trump lo que él está exigiendo. Cuando él llama al gobernador y los legisladores de Texas diciendo, deme 5 más distritos republicanos, es como cuando llamó al secretario de Estado de Georgia después de haber perdido la elección el 2020, cuando les pidió, encuéntrenme 11,000 más votos. Estos no son tiempos normales. Tiempos normales en nuestro gobierno, nuestra política, es un partido en poder, orgullosos de sus logros, defendiendo su récord ante los votantes, pidiendo apoyo para seguir en la mayoría, seguir en el poder. Pero vean lo que ha ocurrido los últimos 7 meses. Recortes a programas de salud. Costos aumentando para familias trabajadoras cada día más. Poniendo en riesgo el seguro social. Bien saben que no es una agenda popular y bien saben que es una agenda dañosa a nuestro país. En vez de defender su récord, en vez de hablar de sus logros, quieren cambiar las reglas de nuestra democracia y quieren asegurar que los líderes en poder en Texas decidan las elecciones, no los votantes. Es un ataque a la democracia de Texas y de California y la democracia nacional. Pero en California nos vamos a parar, nos vamos a poner a trabajar y vamos a defender a nuestra democracia. Este noviembre los votantes de California van a determinar si seguimos con una democracia fuerte o no. Es la cuestión, la pregunta de hoy. So this November, the people of California will stand up and speak up and determine whether we defend our democracy, because California is proud to lead. California always leans in on the biggest challenges, not just for our state, but for our nation. And we're going to do it together, because a wise governor that I know is fond of saying, if you want to go far, go alone. Excuse me, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And the person who has brought us together for this fight of all fights is our friend, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys, for being here. Thank you.
When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win.
Thank you. Thank all of you in the spirit of that African proverb that Senator Padilla was referencing. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And I look back at this audience, and I look at all of you united in this cause, and I'm reminded where in time we are in Los Angeles. the most diverse city, in the most diverse county, in the most diverse state, in the world's most diverse democracy. And I've long believed that the world looks to us, to all of you, to see that it's possible to live together and advance together and prosper together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. What makes LA great, what makes California great, and what makes the United States of America great is that at our best, we don't tolerate our diversity, we celebrate our diversity. And it's a point of pride because we're all in this together. Where are we? At Democracy Center. And right outside, at this exact moment, are dozens and dozens of ICE agents. Donald Trump, you think it's coincidental? No. Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy, clearly decided, coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. It was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago. I met with it. I don't need to belabor this, except I want to level set. People are scared. People are fearful. You had a United States Senator that was thrown down to the ground in a federal building. Alex Padilla. J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla. That's the Vice President of the United States. It's another museum not so far away from us. Talks about those 53 days. Some of you know what I'm referring to. Wake up, America. This is a serious moment. Wake up to what's going on. Wake up to the fear, the anxiety. Wake up to what's happening, not just here in Los Angeles, where we saw our streets militarized. We saw our due process rights thrown out the window. You heard the word disappeared. I was with a 12-year-old boy born in Oxnard, California, whose mother and father were disappeared. 20 years going to the same packing facility every single day. He didn't even know how to get back into his own home, into his own house. Had no brothers and sisters. He has now disappeared in an attempt to find his parents. That's Trump's America. That's the moment we're living in. So these are sober times. And so I'm deeply grateful to all of you for standing up and for being here today. I'm grateful for all the elected officials that are here, members of Congress, not just our 2 U.S. senators, to members of the California legislature for having the courage of their convictions, for standing tall and standing firm, to recognize today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. Here's the good thing about California, folks. We're the size of 21 state populations combined. We're the 4th largest economy in the world. We're not a small, isolated state. I know they say don't mess with Texas. Well, don't mess with the great Golden State. And so we're here with our state of mind, with the clarity of our purpose and conviction, to recognize that we need to reconcile the world we're living in. We do have agency. We're not bystanders in this world. We can shape the future, and that's what we intend to do today. We're here because Donald Trump, on January 6th, tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country, tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, an open and plain before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said...
All right, so that is California Governor Gavin Newsom speaking on their response to redistricting in Texas, or plans to redraw congressional maps there in Texas. All right, so we want to move away from that and take you here. This is a live look, breaking news out of New York City. This is in the Upper East Side, Manhattan, if you're not familiar. So there's a fire at an apartment building here. You see that smoke. You see, I'm counting the number of crews.
So it's got to be at least a dozen.
At least a dozen that we can see by the eye on that roof of that building. Again, you see that smoke coming out of the top of the roof of the building there. Firefighters have been there. We spotted this about 15 minutes ago. And
not even.
I guess less than that. We were scouring, trying to get what information we can. But here's what we have. Here's what we have so far. Authorities are battling a reported fire on the roof of a 7-story apartment building on Manhattan's Upper East Side. This is according to fire officials, and I'm citing WNBC, this NBC New York. So a call about the blaze on East 95th Street between 2nd and 1st Avenues came in shortly after 10 a.m. More than 100 firefighters and EMS personnel are at the scene. There's video posted on the Citizen app, and it shows orange flames just leaping from the roof as a thick black smoke at one point just poured over the skyline there. As far as we know, some good news here. No injuries have been reported so far. No injuries so far. The cause of the fire remains under investigation, but you can see there at the bottom there of the building, you see the numerous fire trucks there, emergency personnel there. But look at that roof. There are, from what we can count, about a dozen firefighters on the roof alone.
And you were reading at the time, but the camera went to the street, and it was like at least 5 like fire trucks with the ladders and the whole thing. I mean, it's a big scene here.
From what we can see, again, no injuries reported there. You see that smoke, that white smoke coming off the roof. Again, still questions remain, and it's unclear what started this fire. We do have a map of this. So let's
I wanted to bring it up just to kind of show
where we are,
where this is, and really, I mean, it looks like about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 blocks away from Central Park. Like it's Upper East Side.
Yeah, it's a few blocks away from the Museum of the City of New York, the Jewish Museum. It's not far away from it at all. Several blocks away from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is really popular there in that area. So yeah, it's and it's New York City. So New York City, there's a lot in one space. But again, this is Upper East Side, Manhattan area. And so this is a look at a general area of where this fire is happening. Again, this is at an apartment building there. Again, we spotted this shot on the NBC feed. And it took us a few minutes to find the information, but we got some information here. Again, a fire at an Upper East Side apartment building that is just spewing smoke. We saw it earlier, that smoke over Manhattan. Right now, this is a street view next to where the fires happened. You can see there the other buildings. Hopefully that camera sort of tilts back up. But again, authorities are battling a reported fire on the roof of a 7-story apartment building on Manhattan's Upper East Side. That's according to fire officials. Again, this is a good look of, if you know anything about New York City, this is a good look of the general area of where this is. And as it zooms in, you can see that smoke pouring out of the building, that apartment building. Again, this is a 7-story apartment building on Manhattan's Upper east side. So a call about this blaze on East 95th Street between 2nd and 1st Avenues came in shortly after 10 a.m. More than 100 firefighters and EMS personnel are at the scene right now. We counted about a dozen, maybe more there on that roof. They're battling those, I want to say flames, but the aftermath of those flames and that smoke there. At times that smoke has looked like this, but some other times we've seen more white smoke coming out of the top of the building.
Yeah, there's a lot of like black smoke too. I'm just seeing videos on Twitter. It's definitely calmed down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But still a haze, especially like, I mean, this is the biggest city
yeah,
in the country,
I mean,
arguably the world.
Right.
So.
I mean, you know, if you're in this area, if you know somebody in this area, you may be wondering if, you know, you're on the way. I guess you're already at work, but if you're at home, work from home, you may be wondering, what is that?
It's such a dense area, too, with people who might have, you know, asthma or any sort of breathing issues.
Right.
Like, this is, whew.
Yeah. And so we can report, and this is what NBC 4 there in New York is reporting. No injuries so far. This fire remains under investigation, as Carlene said, on social media and on a platform like the Citizen app. There are videos posted of orange flames coming from the roof, thick black smoke. Spewing over the skyline, but it looks like, from what I can see, it looks like firefighters are putting out hot spots. You can see, I see one in particular with a hose towards the center, top center of your screen, just spraying what appears to be hot spots. Actually, I can see flames right there on the left.
Oh yeah, there's still flames there.
There's still some flames there, so there's still a fire. So yeah, that camera, the helicopter must have heard what I was saying. But you can see as you zoom in, there are flames coming out that looks like and it zooms in a little bit from the roof. There's still flames coming out. So they're still battling flames. So this fire is not over yet. Carlene,
I just sent you other breaking news actually that just came in.
Okay. All right. So this is a look at your screen again. Upper East Side there in Manhattan as crews battle those flames. We have more breaking news. It happens as we. It always happens as we sort of wrap up this morning.
Yep.
But
take a look at the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Aaron. Aaron becomes the first hurricane of the 2025 season.
Okay, yeah, something that we expected. We got the forecast from Majestic earlier in the show. We're keeping our eye on that storm. Hurricane Aaron, first hurricane of the season, expected to pass near or north of the Leeward Islands on Saturday. And so you can follow updates there on hurricanes.gov. The National Hurricane Center does a great job, but also our weather impact team is keeping an eye on the tropics, because although the way the map looks and where it's projected to go doesn't look at this moment to impact North Carolina, outside of waves and you know, if you're at the beach, you want to be safe, and but actually to make landfall, it doesn't appear from the maps and from what we're getting. However, with hurricanes, you never know, and so you always want to make sure you keep an eye out and you make sure you are informed. Especially our team does a great job of informing folks.
NBC's graphic just updated. Let me give you a second to pull it up. Okay. They do what I call the swirly map that kind of shows the track. So if you can wait a second, let's let that
But again, this is the news there, posted on X shortly, a few minutes ago, actually. All right, so this is where Hurricane Aaron is, about 460 miles away from Leeward Islands. Again, this is the track, right? And so it shows you the timeline of where Hurricane Aaron is expected to go. But again, I hear Brittany Van Voorhees say this all the time. You just never know.
Right.
And Brad says this all the time too. You just never know. It could shift. It could turn.
We've seen the spaghetti plots that they have, and you see all the spaghetti lines on there. I mean, it's so many. So, just want you to be alert that this is happening.
You don't want to sleep on
No.
anything like this, and keep your eye off of something like this.
That's why you should watch us.
And look, and even
other teams got you.
And even you're right. And even if we don't, it doesn't make landfall. It's the impact of folks going to the beach.
Yep.
Carlene, you grew up by the water.
Yep.
You know
how
much of an impact this could have.
It doesn't take much for Charleston to flood. So even just a little bit of some big waves, downtown's flooded.
Yeah. And look, if you're at the beach, be safe. You don't want to get into too far, because even if you're a strong swimmer, man, that current can pull you in. So again, be safe. This is first confirmed hurricane of the 2025 season. Aaron is now a hurricane, so we will continue to keep an eye on that. And let's shift. You want to shift back over to the fire?
Yeah, because it looks like the flames that we were seeing a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
They're working on it.
They're
Looks like
working.
they're out.
And I'm curious to it looked like those flames just popped up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they didn't see the flames, but it looks like their concentration is more on those flames from where they're spraying right now.
Yeah.
Than it was before. They were spraying this sort of area where it's black. I don't know if it's black because it's charred or if it was that color originally. If I had to guess, it was because it was charred. But firefighters have been spraying the roof. They're putting out those flames. It looked like they were putting out hot spots earlier. Then we noticed the flames. So unclear if there are more flames there. But you see it. There are quite a few firefighters there on that roof. Again, this is a 7-story apartment building in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. There, as firefighters are battling those flames, authorities battling the reported fire on the roof of the 7-story apartment building on Manhattan's Upper East Side. It's according to fire officials. And again, I'm reading this report from NBC4 in New York. So the call came in this apartment building, just to give you an idea where it is. It's on East 95th Street between 2nd and 1st Avenues. It came in shortly after 10 a.m. More than 100 firefighters and EMS personnel are at the scene at this moment.
Again, just to give another idea of where this is, I'll bring up the Google map. So you can see it's not too far from Central Park.
Yeah, several blocks away from Central Park. I think
Jewish Museum.
I think you counted about 5 blocks away
about
from.
5 blocks.
Yeah, so definitely within walking distance of Central Park. The Museum of the City of New York is a little further north. Past the Jewish Museum. So it's around things.
A lot of things.
Yeah, in New York City, Manhattan especially, very dense. So there's again, very dense. A lot of things there in that area. Restaurants, stores, I see that as well. But again, you see fire crews on top of that roof there, putting out flames. So they're spraying into this opening of the roof. And we noticed maybe about 5 minutes ago there are flames that were coming from that roof. We thought they were finished with the flames because they were spraying this area where it's charred right past it. But it looks like they're still spraying flames and putting out other hot spots there. About a dozen firefighters on this roof. This is a 7-story apartment building in the Upper East Side of New York. And on street level, with the helicopter and the camera there zoomed out, you could see the emergency personnel there on the street. Several trucks there. Probably, if there are 100 EMS and fire personnel there, I'm sure there are more fire trucks than the 5 that we saw from our
for sure.
Yeah. So again, the good news in this, NBC4 is reporting no injuries so far. So no one has been injured according to NBC4. They did mention on their web article that there's video on platforms like Citizen App. And Carlene, I think you said you saw videos too on social media.
Yes.
That obviously that we can't play because we have to get that sort of verified.
Correct.
but it showed flames and it showed thick black smoke coming out of the roof. Right now, we continue to see white smoke, some black smoke, but mostly white smoke coming.
It's definitely calmed down.
Yeah. A lot calmer than when we got to this shot about 15 minutes ago. Close to 15 minutes ago. So we're approaching the top of the show. Again, we'll keep an eye on this breaking news. Also, just want to mention, too, breaking news, Aaron is now confirmed as a hurricane out in the Atlantic. We will get an update we'll get an update at midday.